The Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission has tried Jammeh to enforce disappearance, killing and torture of opposition members and journalists, the shooting of peaceful demonstrators, the murder of about 59 West African migrants, and witch hunt campaigns in which hundreds of people were arbitrarily detained and many died as a result. The Jammeh to Justice campaign, made up of victims of former regime and Gambian and international activists, has during a press conference on Wednesday called on the government of the Gambia to take concrete steps to bring former President Yahya Jammeh and his allied accomplice to justice.
We welcome and salute the government's acceptance of the TRC recommendations and in particular its commitment to prosecute Jammeh and his accomplices. We had hoped that the government would provide greater clarity and details on the judicial framework it intends to create for those prosecutions. Since 2019, the Gambia Bar Association has led a series of multi-stakeholder consultations which proposed a hybrid court, anchored on a treaty with ECOWAS, with Gambian and international staff, with a much greater role for victims than under the current Gambian system, and with the possibility of detaining suspects and holding trials outside of the Gambia. Whatever path the government chooses, however, laws still have to be enacted, the judicial framework has to be established, cases have to be prepared, and Yahya Jammeh has to be extradited.
The group is concerned that President Adama Barrow visited Equatorial Guinea without raising the issue of former President Yahya Jammeh's extradition.
We are concerned that only days after the Minister of Justice stated flatly that President Jammeh would face justice for the atrocities that he committed in the country, President Barrow conducted a state visit to Equatorial Guinea and did not even raise the subject of Jammeh's extradition. We are aware that President Obiang of Equatorial Guinea has said that he will protect Jammeh. However, Equatorial Guinea has ratified to the UN Convention Against Torture, which legally requires it to extradite Jammeh for alleged torture if it does not prosecute him. The Gambian government could also make it very difficult for Equatorial Guinea to resist a demand for Jammeh's extradition by lining up the support of ECOWAS and the entire region.
Reed Brody, an American human rights lawyer who specializes in helping victims pursue abusive leaders for atrocities, nicknamed Dictator Hunter, had this to say.
In its white paper, the government was very brief, and as the press release said, did not give a lot of detail as to what it intends to do. There's one paragraph on the government's plans for prosecution, and I will read that paragraph because in 3 sentences it sets out that the government intends to create a special judicial framework within our domestic court system for the prosecution of perpetrators. Legal changes will be effected to give it jurisdiction over the offense of torture as well as international crimes. The court shall be located within the Gambia with the option of holding sittings in other countries. Now, the problem is that all those conditions cannot be met. A domestic court cannot have jurisdiction over crimes that are not yet in the Gambian code. So if laws, as they should be, are adopted in the Gambia to criminalize torture, to criminalize crimes against humanity, a domestic court cannot have retroactive jurisdiction over those crimes.
Mr. Martin Kerr, the spokesperson for the survivors and victims' families, is a survivor of the murder of about 59 West African migrants. He thanked the TRRC and the government for a job well done, but calls for the quick prosecution of the perpetrators.
Issue about white paper in Ghana is not anything new for Ghanaians, but its implementation may make it understand whether it is a white paper or not. Now, We know that it's not all the recommendations that were given is satisfied to the victims, but the step of the white paper gives us an assurance that the president is on course to making sure that people may have access to justice. And the voice of Ghana says that we are supportly and we are at the back of TRC and the white paper recommendation that a court must be set. Hybrid court must be set for people to appear to testify, but how soon and when that court is going to be set. In fact, the eye of the Ghanaians are widely open to see the political will of our people.
Adding her voice is Fatou, a survivor of former President Yahya Jammeh's HIV treatment, who could not hold her tears while remembering Jammeh's alleged maltreatment on her and colleagues.
I think among the first batch, I was the very weak one there because I have so many things around my shoulder because I was having a child who was only 2.5 years old when I was going to the treatment, and I was with him there. And they always used to force this boy to drink the concoction. He always cried when he sees soldiers to come for him, which was very, very sad. And as a mother, I feel like this was not fair.
Jammeh fled the Gambia in January 2017 for exile in Equatorial Guinea after losing presidential elections to current President Adama Barrow. The TRC uncovered many unlawful killings, disappearance, tortures, intimidations, sexual violence cases, and arbitrary arrest meant to suppress dissent and preserve its grip on power. The Gambia government has said it will prosecute former President Yahya Jammeh for murder, rape, torture, and other alleged crimes committed during his more than 20 years rule. The Minister of Justice said that it has accepted all but 2 of 265 recommendations made by a commission that probed alleged crimes committed by the state under the former leader from July 1994 to January 2017. Reporting for Kerr, I am Buba Gajigo.